Clemson had 5 players who received PFF grades of 80 or better. Number 1 on the team with an 89 was quarterback star player Cade Klubnik. Not a huge surprise. Number 2 on the team, defensive end TJ Parker. I'll skip number 3, 4 and 5, Peter Woods, Avion Terrell. So who was number 3? It's actually RJ Mickens, a guy who wasn't drafted until the 6th round of the NFL draft by the LA Rams, and a guy that throughout his whole career I've always felt was kind of overlooked. He may not have had super elite measurables, but he was pretty darn elite when it came to being a productive college player and a college safety. And that's what Clemson has to replace at the safety position this year. Most of these previews have been over the top positive, but I'm a little bit concerned about replacing RJ Mickens. I think he's a great player, and Clemson doesn't have kind of stars waiting in the wings to replace him, so to speak. Obviously, they've got 2 guys who will be looking to bounce back, 2 guys coming back who are the presumed starters, Khalil Barnes and Kylon Griffin. Both will be juniors, with Kylon Griffin being a redshirt junior. And they were kind of disappointing last year. The year prior, both had kind of sophomore slumps. But in 2023, Khalil Barnes, had that amazing game against South Carolina, had a really amazing true freshman season. And Kylon Griffin, he didn't play quite as much, and he was a redshirt freshman, not a true freshman, but he was extremely promising as well. And so you felt those 2 guys are going to be an incredible duo at safety. Well, now it's kind of their time to be the starting duo, and they'll need to bounce back from kind of the proverbial sophomore slump that seems to happen quite a bit in college sports. So there's a lot on them, and I think they both had those great 2023 seasons. So you certainly believe it's possible. In fact, I would say in both cases it's likely, but we have to be honest and suggest there's a real chance at least one of them doesn't bounce back. So what's the depth behind that? And this is where it gets really interesting. So there's a super veteran, Tyler Venables, who's back for his sixth season at Clemson. Injuries have really hampered him, so I try not to be overly negative about his production because a lot of it is due to injury. So what does he give you? I don't know that you know the answer to that necessarily. If he's healthy, I think he gives you a decent floor, veteran leadership and experience, but I don't think he gives you championship level play. And if he's banged up, as seems to be the case very often, it could be a lot less than that. So you really don't want to rely on him as a starter. If you could use him as a solid rotational piece behind kind of a resurgent Kylon Griffin and resurgent Khalil Barnes, and with neither of them having to play nickel, they're both at safeties or true starters full time, then you feel good about Tyler Venables in that role. If he's forced to start, you don't feel as good. One name I'm pretty excited about, and I think could end up making this room have maybe better depth than it seems right now, is Ricardo Jones. He played about 150 snaps last year, had a PFF grade of 70, 147 snaps. He was a big prospect. People forget that. This was the guy that briefly put on a Tennessee hat during his commitment ceremony, bummed everyone out. It seemed like he was going to Clemson. And then he pulls that hat off and throws it off to the side, puts on his Clemson hat. He comes to Clemson, hurt his foot in the spring, and I think that maybe slowed his ability to make an instant impact, but it was still good for nearly 150 snaps as a true freshman. And I think now maybe you see him play a lot more snaps. I believe he could be a big part of this. So you have those 4 guys. I think they're 4 guys that, if you ask me each one individually, I feel good about Griffin bouncing back. I feel good about Barnes bouncing back. I think Venables has a positive role to play. If healthy, I think he could be good. And Ricardo Jones, I really believe in. I was really high on him as a prospect and a big hitter. And now healthy with a year of experience, I really like what he brings to the table. But that's still 4 guys who are somewhere between unproven or coming off a bad year. The odds of 1 or 2 of them not being good and me being wrong about that, pretty decent. And so that's why I think this group's a little thin. As you go beyond that, you have Kylan Webb and Rob Billings, redshirt sophomores. They haven't played a whole lot. Neither one played big snaps last year. Let's see, Billings with only 30 snaps on defense, Webb only 25. So, their PFF grades don't mean anything with such little playing time. But guys who essentially have not seen serious playing time on the field. So you don't really know what to expect from them. Noah Dixon and Joe Wilkinson coming off redshirt seasons. They'll be redshirt freshmen. Dixon was a big-time recruit. Wilkinson, a 3-star, not a huge recruit, but he was the 6A Defensive Player of the Year in the football-rich state of Georgia. So those are guys who could be good, but I don't know that you trust that they're ready now. And then Jakarian Keenan comes in this year as a true freshman, but 3-star, was a former Rutgers commit, flipped to Clemson. He's only 175 pounds, or at least he was. At least that's what it shows currently on his Clemson bio. Maybe he's added weight over the summer. But, you got to think he's probably going to redshirt, needs to add some muscle. Was also formerly listed as a cornerback. Will be playing safety at Clemson. Almost certainly needs a year, I would think. So you're really looking at 4 guys with Khalil Barnes. I think he has great bounce back potential. Kylon Griffin, I think he has very good bounce back potential, but still coming off suboptimal seasons, both with PFF grades in the 60s. Then you got Tyler Venables, who wasn't great, wasn't really healthy a lot of last year, and Ricardo Jones, who only has 147 career defensive snaps. So I think there's a lot of unknowns at this position. Now, I also think it helps if you improve the pass rush, if you improve the run defense from the defensive ends. All of that trickles back to the safeties, right? So there is part of that. I think the coaching improves, adjusting quicker in games, which I always thought was a weakness of Wes Goodwin. So all those things help. I think it's pretty likely this group is fine, but if there's any position of a pretty veteran, very good Clemson team that I think is poised to do big things, if you're looking for a weakness, you've got tons of experience on offense, particularly a wide receiver, quarterback, the offensive line's all back, maybe some questions at running back, but your offense doesn't have a whole lot of weaknesses. The defense, you think with Will Heldt, you fixed defensive end with Peter Woods moving back to defensive tackle. That seems like a strength. Woodaz is back. You got to like linebackers and Avion Terrell, and you got a great group at cornerback. Safety looks like, relatively speaking, the weakness. I think there is a shot they're very good. They do lose Sherrod Koval to transfer. He went to Virginia Tech. He wasn't good last year. His PFF grades have been on the decline all 3 years at Clemson. Posted a 50 or 51 PFF grade last year. So really bad. And maybe he'll, go back to his home state, Virginia. Maybe he can play a bigger role there and be better. But, not necessarily a huge loss, but it is a loss of experience and pedigree. So I think there's some questions at safety for Clemson. Am I missing it? Am I off here? I'd be happy to be wrong. Let me know what you think. As always, hey, don't forget this channel is sponsored by ReadyVets. They do a lot to help this channel, so I really appreciate them. If you're in the upstate of South Carolina, if you cannot get to see your vet right away and it's an emergency, ReadyVets is there for you. You can come in. They're open until 10 p.m. 7 days a week. A great business owned by a Clemson graduate, Chris Capps, Dr. Capps. So check them out. Save them in your Google Maps in case you ever need them. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video. As always, go Tigers.